Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is ThorW bringing you a solo cast of high challenger level play right now. Of currently a live game too, so let's go ahead and take a look at this game right now. Over on the red team, we've got the team of Nidalee for the jungle, Aurelia for top lane, Vladimir for mid lane, and Thresh and Ezreal teaming up for the bottom lane, facing off against the blue team of Katarina for the mid lane, Rengar for the jungle, Malphite for the top, and the Kalista Annie combo for the bottom lane. We got a bit of our line of scrimmage standoff going off down here, facing around the mid to bottom area. Both teams just kind of looking at each other, placing a couple of defensive wards, making sure that there are no shenanigans going on early game. Obviously starting to gyrate with their laughs, as everyone must do. I mean, that's what you gotta do for the first minute of the game. Place down a defensive ward, gyrate with your laughs. Nidalee going to pick up the first little bit of gold right here, as Kalista is fully willing to feed off that 10 gold sentinel for free. I don't know, Kalista. I think you might have lost the game already. Nidalee with that 10 gold lead. Could be over. So, game minions have just about spawned. Or, just completed spawning, and they're running up towards their lanes. We got Malphite walking over here, going to take a little bit of a look over onto this Vlad. Gets a ward shoved right in his face, and he's like, okay, whatever. We got the leash coming out for the red side, straight up onto the blue buff. Nidalee going to go ahead and start with that. Very powerful in the jungle when she has that blue buff ready. Gets plenty of resets off onto that pounce every time that she uses it onto one of those hunted targets, so she's going to get a fairly quick clear due to the help that she got. Team step in the bottom lane, and immediately Thresh takes a lot of damage. That W, the passive damage on that W from the Kalista combination with both of them auto-attacking the same target does a fairly high bit of burst just through their auto-attacks, so Thresh taking a bit more than he would have liked to, that's for sure. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this blue team's going to have the experience advantage, considering they hit the lane first. They got the wave pushing. They're looking to keep pressuring this red bottom lane and push them back constantly. Looking over at top, looks like a little bit of a farm fest. Malphite getting the push in, gets that level 2 a little bit early. He opts to start with the Cloth 5 up against his opponent, the Aurelia, starting with the Crystalline Flask and the multiple pots. Malphite going to come over here, get a ward down. Nidalee might have seen that ward right before it went invisible when she placed her trap, so a little hard to tell, but nothing's really going to come of it. Rengar's over doing his own thing in his jungle, no big aggression going to come over. Over here at mid lane, bit of a passive farm fest going on, a little bit of harass coming from either side onto their opponents, both of them just plain cooldown dependent, no energy, no mana, no resource whatsoever. They're just waiting for their cooldowns to come up anytime they want to trade. Vlad getting the better of them, though, with his self-healing capabilities so far. Back down the bottom, seems like this is probably the most action-packed lane so far. A lot of trades coming in, a lot of push going in. And, uh-oh. Nidalee's roaming over. Malphite does not have a ward down. Nidalee is in a perfect position to go ahead and try and land a spear right here. Is she going to be able to? She comes running in, hits that spear. Malphite has to flash away. Still takes a lot of damage. Almost gets killed. Nidalee once in angle on that spear. Not going to get it. Creeps coming in, blocking her. Malphite's going to have to blow that flash, recall, and probably blow a teleport just getting back up here. Nidalee with a very good roam, getting a big advantage for her top laner so far. Gonna go ahead and take this Scuttle Crab, maintain a little bit of vision up here, making sure Aurelia cannot be ganked by a Rengar coming around, but Rengar is down here anyway, so no problem whatsoever for that. Vladimir continues pressuring this Katarina, really bullying her back and doing quite a bit of damage to her face. Katarina decided to opt with the Doran Shield, same with Vladimir, only Vladimir is definitely ahead in this trade-off situation. And CS continues to be relatively even between those two. Vladimir is able to pressure Katarina back for a minor deficit, but it's still pretty close. No big swing on either side. Rengar looking towards the bottom lane. Gonna just take that Scuttle Crab more than likely. It doesn't look like he's gonna have any sort of angle coming in here unless this team is willing to dive on their opponents. Wait a second, here they come. They're taking a look for the Nidalee. They're gonna get a peekaboo onto her with Annie, and not even gonna be able to steal that out. But they're gonna be able to take the Gromp here, so a little bit of extra gold going over to the Rengar right now. Nidalee's going to spot out this pink ward. It's going to pop her Raptor buff, unfortunately for her. But she might be able to get this regular ward. Does not land the spear onto the Katarina. Katarina's just going to walk away as best she can. Annie and Callista getting caught out in the meantime. Quite a big fight going on between them. A trade goes down. Callista dies. Ezreal dies. Irelia gets the teleport in. Annie, you're running way deep into the enemy territory. She is definitely going to die no matter what. That is done. Meanwhile, over in this mid lane, Rengar tries to go down onto this Vladimir and the Nidalee combo, and he's going to get killed. And Vladimir with the flash in, the EQ combo going to take out Katarina, finishing her off, getting a double kill there. Well, it would be a double kill if not for the timer. So a big win coming out for the red team so far. Very much in their advantage right now. Recalls going down. Some big items should be picked up by a few of these players. Phage coming in onto this Irelia, going to give her a lot more laning presence against her opponent, the Malphite, who opted to pick up that chain vest as soon as possible. More than likely going to build that off into the Sunfire cape to face off against his opponent. Meanwhile, we've got bottom lane, the Callista and Annie combo takes down those Krugs. We got some deep wards coming in from this Thresh, getting a lot of vision into his opponent's jungle. They're going to be able to see any kind of angle that Rengar tries to get, but little do they know, Malphite's the one coming down here. He's going to start throwing wheels at this Thresh. He's going to slow him down. The chase is coming in. The chase is on. Annie and Callista are trying to get over here. Can Callista make the wall hop? She does not make the wall hop, but this Thresh is being perpetually slowed. He's not going anywhere. Bloodthirsty Annie takes the kill. Rengar, in the meantime, holding off on this top lane, but Nidalee's coming around from behind. She's wrapping around. The creeps can see her. She is going for this dive. She wants it. She's going to throw the spear. Nope, not at all. Wait, there it goes. They go in it together, and it's going to work out just fine. Very easy, very well coordinated, and clean dive by Nidalee and Irelia right there. Welcome back to mid lane. This is a massive advantage going down for Vladimir. He is just starting to snowball his advantage heavily against his opponent. 20 plus CS ahead. It was 22. It's evened out a little bit after that farm wave down there. And meanwhile, down at bottom, we've got a bit of a kill going on, a bit of a dive going on. Malphite burns the ultimate, but he's going to make sure that his bottom lane gets that double kill, and that's a very nice trade-off. Blue starting to get a little bit back into this game. Nidalee comes over towards mid. She's going to pressure this tower. There is no way that this tower is going to live any longer than this, so Katarina is going to have to play a little bit more safely now. And she's already been playing extremely far back because she has been pressured out by this Vlad, opting to go for that Negatron cloak. That's how much pressure she's been receiving. More than likely going to build that off into the Abyssal Scepter as soon as possible. Malphite heads back to the top lane. Still nothing more than that chain vest and a ruby crystal. Meanwhile, Irelia has not gone back quite yet. Still only sitting on that Phage. Nidalee with the roam down bottom, throws the spear, does not hit. And Callista's going to be able to just saunter out of there, no problem whatsoever. But Red Team has Red Team's going to go ahead and start taking this dragon, and it looks like there's not going to be any competition whatsoever for this. Blue Team completely out of position for this. A lot of deep wards coming in from the blue team in the meantime, and they're looking to steal this red as well. Looks like Rengar's running himself over just to be sure. Dragon gets taken by the red team. The advantage goes over to them. Rengar's going to go ahead and clean out this ward over here. Getting a little bit more vision control back for his team. Vladimir keeping up that E stack. Ezreal pushing down this bottom. Oh, wait. Here comes the dive. Blue team, 3 members up top lane. Rengar pops the ultimate. Does not get to use the leap up there, but he's going to be able to hit that bola no problem whatsoever, and that is a clean, easy kill onto this Irelia. No problem whatsoever from this blue team on getting that off. Meanwhile, at bot lane, we've got Thresh getting a hook onto this Callista. He's going to try and do as much damage as possible. The red comes out. Thresh is going to die from one more tower hit. What a well-played movement by Callista. A little bit sloppy from the red team. Thresh taking a couple of tower hits there, and that's going to kill him right there. Sentinel comes out from Callista. She wants to be a little bit safe. She's going to just be able to dodge these mystic shots and farm under the tower as best as possible. Ezreal's going to arcane shift back, and looks like he's just going to recall after that. Very unfortunate play by his team. Back over to mid lane, Vlad continuing the pressure and the high lane bullying that he has been doing for this entire game, sitting 30 CS above his opponent, and it's just growing further and further. Here comes Narkim. Here comes the True Shot Barrage. Boom! Gonna go ahead and push down this lane just a little bit more. Vlad's going to clear this out very easily, and a lot of pressure coming down on the mid lane. Nearly deep into enemy territory, looking to clear out this pink ward now that she sees it. And she's going to get it no problem, be able to just hop over that wall if anything gets dangerous. Thresh is there with a lantern as well. A lot of pings coming down onto Aurelia. It looks like Annie's roaming up top again, and Malphite's going to go ahead and start applying a little bit of pressure to his opponent. He finishes up that Bammy Cinder, getting a little bit of AoE damage per second out, just passively. That new 1,000 gold item being a piece of the Sunfire Cape nowadays. A lot of pings coming out to top. I really expect something to happen here. Annie's sitting in the bush trying to set up an angle for a flash Tibbers more than likely. They might even go for a dive. Kallista's heading top as well, but here comes Vladimir. This is looking like a 3 versus 3 engage. Spear hits. Malphite's trying to bait this as much as possible, but nothing's going on here. And here comes the dive! The Malphite ult hits both of his opponents. The Ren comes in, lots of damage onto this Aurelia. She's going to fall in no time. Vladimir coming up as fast as he can. He's running in, he's trying to catch everyone on the enemy team. He takes out the Malphite immediately, throws out the troll pool. The ult hits everyone. The ult from Annie stuns up this Vladimir, and he dies way too quickly. The ult from Callista gets the knock up onto the Nidalee, and Nidalee is going to die as well. And that is a 3-for-1 in favor of the blue team. Extremely well played by them. That's going to even up the score a little bit. Rengar's going to get a very heavy push down onto this mid lane while Katarina keeps the bottom lane from dying. She's got to be a little bit careful. She's been able to apply a fair amount of damage onto her opponents, but she's sitting at half health right here, and she gets caught by one too many Mystic shots. She's pretty dead. Looks like Azrael and Thresh are just going to back up, so it looks like she's going to be just fine, no problem. Gets a little bit more farm under her belt, trying to close that gap with the Vladimir. Still sitting 28 CS behind. It's only going to grow a little bit here. Thresh runs around, gets the flay off. Rengar still not invisible. There we go. Finally, never mind. He ran through a pink ward, but he was able to get out through the virtue of that flash at the very least. Very unfortunate for him that he ran through a pink ward. There's pinks on either side of this mid lane. That is pure mid lane control for the red team right now. There's absolutely there's no angle to get in on this mid lane right now. There are 3 members coming towards mid for the dive. The flay comes out. Cat's just gonna Shunpo right out of there. Keep herself safe. Teleport coming down onto this mid lane tower. They need to get out of there pretty quick before Malphite shows up. His ult should be up in just a moment. He's not going to chase it down, and he does not try and cut them off either. So red team's going to be able to walk out of there relatively safe. Dragon up in another minute or so. Ballista takes down this top tower. Really not able to stop this pressure from the AD carry on the opposing team. Meanwhile, Malphite and Annie find a pick off onto this Nidalee, going a little too deep into the enemy jungle and getting locked up by the enemy. It costs both of their ultimates, but certainly seems worth it. Little bit of pressure down onto this bot lane. The red team taking down this bottom tier 1 tower, and they've got a lot of deep wards into the enemy jungle. Despite the death on Nidalee, she was able to help out with the warding here, and there's just complete coverage on all of the entrances to this jungle. So the red team has a lot of vision there. They know when the dragon's going to come up. 20 seconds from now. It looks like there's some motion heading towards there with the Nidalee going to go ahead and take her blue buff first. So she'll be plenty ready to go ahead for that. Blue team, I don't think they have a timer for the dragon. I don't believe they had it warded at the time, so even if they did, they do not have the Annie. They don't have Tibbers. They don't have the Unstoppable Force for a fair amount of time. They'd have to stall this out for a little bit. And they don't have the best They do not have the best composition for trying to stall out a fight. They've got some pretty hefty dive on their team, but very, very little poke. Whereas the blue team, on the other hand, has some pretty nice poke with the Nidalee and Ezreal combination, along with Vladimir, who is rather good against, rather good in the team fights, especially while he's power spiking like this. We've got a little bit of... Oh, Vladimir gets the shutdown on Kalista in the meantime with the help of the Aurelia stun. That's pretty heavy. Blue team cannot contest this in 4v5. They're going to run around. They're going to just back up off of that afterwards. Vladimir going to get a lot more pressure down on this mid lane. A full wave coming in. He is clearing waves very quickly, opting to go for that Spectre's Cowl and the Merc Treads. He's more than likely going to finish that off into a Spirit Visage pretty soon. And he is becoming very tanky. Katarina, Annie, and Malphite are all AP champions, and they're going to do very little damage to this Vladimir once he's finished up building that Spirit Visage. Along with a lot of extra heal coming out for him on his Q. Annie just running forward, throws the Tibbers down, gets the stun onto the Aurelia, and she is taking the tower aggro, so she is easily dead. I don't know why she was taking tower aggro. What was going on there? Nidalee coming over, trying to look for an angle on the spear. She gets spotted up at this pink ward, misses the spear. They're going to clear the pink and run away. Tibbers chases them off. He says, "Get out of my bushes." And everyone happily complies. They don't want to go fight with Tibbers. He's a big flaming bear. It'd be scary. All the ultimates are off of cooldown for this blue side, so they are a very ultimate dependent team for most of their picks. Kalista is a little less so, but the rest of the team very, very dependent on having those ultimates off cooldown for dealing their damage and getting their setup. But once they're off cooldown, their team fight is extremely powerful. They have the Wombo combo. Let's see if they can make use of it as they start all heading towards mid for this mid push, except Rengar. He's looking towards bottom to try and get a little bit of a counter push down onto this Vladimir. Looks like the Wombo combo gets spent onto the Nidalee there, and she is taken down immediately, the Unstoppable Four. Here comes Cat, gets as much damage as possible. The Q from the Kalista does not quite reach the Ezreal. He's barely going to get out. But here comes the wraparound gank from the Vlad and the Aurelia. The stun comes out from Annie. Vlad, never mind, Annie holds the stun. Vlad pops that pool just a little bit too early. Aurelia gets the jump in onto the Malphite and is able to take him out, tries to take Annie down. But there's just too much damage coming out from these three champions that are left up alive, and that is going to be a tier 2 tower, getting a lot of damage in on it, possibly even taking it down in favor of the blue team. It looks like, yes, they will certainly be able to take this down, no problem whatsoever. Nidalee is going to have that Raptor buff popped immediately, probably going to be able to take the ward down at the very least. A little bit of a chase coming down. This Frozen Fist is finished on Ezreal, the Iceborne Gauntlet, that is. And she's got to dodge the Nidalee Spears, no problem whatsoever. Got to dodge the Mystic Shot. Ezreal's not even going to fire it, not even going to waste the mana. He knows how gone she is. He's not going to try and chase down a Kalista. Kalista's sitting on a ward right now, though Spear comes in. Very good reaction time. She sees it just as it reaches over that tree line. Spear hits in onto the Annie. Annie comes over and she's like, "Oh, I guess there's a ward over here." Yeah. Nidalee gets that Raptor buff, and it gets popped immediately, but it gets popped by this ward right over here. She's not going to be able to see anything with it, so bit of a waste of the Raptor buff, unfortunately. A little bit of a lull in the action as Baron is going to spawn in 30 seconds. I wonder if anyone's going to try for that instant Baron. Anyone going to try for the instant 20-minute Baron? Kind of doubt it. Unfortunately, neither team's really set up for an early Baron at this rate. However, never mind about that. Kalista gets jumped on by the Nidalee. The spear hits, but unfortunately for them, Annie is in the neighborhood, and Tibbers happened to be there with her. Tibbers is a very good friend to take with you on neighborhood trips. He makes sure that nobody gets in your way. So this looks like the first time that blue team has had a little bit of an advantage over the dragon area. It's still not spawning for another couple minutes, but blue team is all in the vicinity, looking to push down this tier 2 bottom tower. The hook lands onto the Malphite. He takes a lot of damage, but he doesn't care. He's pretty damn tanky. He's got unstoppable force if need be. The all-in comes down on the Thresh, and it's not enough to kill him. Katarina does not survive the damage. Vlad tries to come in from the side, gets locked up by these three heroes over here, and he's going to get taken down. Another Nidalee Spear hits onto this Kalista. A lot of poke coming down from the red team. A Nidalee Spear onto the Malphite. She's going to flash in. Malphite hits the unstoppable force immediately. No damage from Nidalee to finish it off. Ezreal has to jump away as fast as possible. Kalista almost murders him on top of everything. Aurelia is the last one left here. She shows up late to the party. She was busy pushing down the top lane. Gets one tower for her team, but unfortunately her team's starting to take a lot of pressure onto this tier 2 down at bottom. Blue team looks like they're going to back off now. Everyone's starting to respawn. Very low respawn timers at this 21-minute mark in the game. Not a whole lot of pressure allowed to be applied, even though they've got the pretty hefty kill advantage in the trades there. Dragon coming up in 40 seconds. Red team has the timer. Blue team should have the timer. They had a ward over in the pit the last time that they were there. The ultimate gets popped from Rengar. He's looking to jump onto the Thresh, and he does. He does as much damage as he possibly can. Aurelia takes a ton of damage. Is able to finish off the Rengar in the meantime, but she gets dropped as well. 1-for-1 trade. Pretty good for the red team overall. A lot of poke coming in from this Ezreal. The spear gets flashed by the Kalista so that she does not die. This frozen fist blow. The all-in from the Katarina is not enough to deal a killing blow to anyone. Blue team runs away as best as possible. The ultimate comes out from Kalista to dodge that spear for the Annie. Red team comes back, complete control over this dragon once more. Looks like this one's going in their favor again. Malphite coming over from the mid lane, thinks better of it, decides, nope, my ultimate's not up, I'm not going to try this. That is a third dragon in favor of the red team. 3 dragons to 0, even tower score. Even though red team's been looking a little bit bad in the team fights, still a very, very even game coming out from both sides right now. Only a 1k advantage on the side of blue right now. Kalista gonna go ahead and clean up this middle lane farm. Let's take a look at a couple of the items coming out. Kalista finishes off that Quicksilver Sash after her Runan's Hurricane and her Bloodthirster. So she's looking extremely powerful, sitting at 9-2 and 5, and a lot of pings coming out onto this Baron. It looks like the blue team wants to do this Baron. They've got the Kalista advantage. Kalista is extremely good at taking Baron, especially in conjunction with the jungler. That is about a 3k damage smite between the two of them, if they've got enough Kalista attacks onto it. But red team, fully aware of what's going on. Blue team's going to back up off of it, disengage off of that Baron. It was worth a try to sneak it. Unfortunately for them, the red team was fully aware of Kalista's capabilities. Everyone's running as fast as they can. They get that buff for the speed up there, and it looks like Aurelia is in no man's land. She tries to hop around, and she's going to get dropped like a rock. Meanwhile, Rengar gets the solo kill onto the Nidalee, almost gets a solo kill onto the Thresh as well. He has to flash out. He's going to get followed by the Vladimir and taken down as well. But this is a 2-for-1 trade in favor of the blue team, and they're going to be able to take this tier 2 top tower down in favor of themselves. Teleport comes down from Malphite to alleviate pressure from this bottom tower, and things are looking pretty damn good for the blue team right now. Still only up about 1.8k, so still a very, very even game, despite being ahead in, despite taking that tower advantage, taking these kill advantages. If you take a look right now, the experience differential is pretty hefty if you compare mid laners. Katarina's sitting at level 11 because of all the groupings she's been doing. Meanwhile, Vladimir is at level 14 because of all the solo farm he's been getting. He did stop to make that Spirit Visage, so his power is a little bit lower right now. He's working towards that Zonus. He'll be very happy once he gets it, but in the meantime, Kalista is doing a ton of damage. Eats that True Shot barrage, though, loses a bunch of health. Vladimir's like, oh, don't worry about it. I got tons of spellbound. Nidalee, once again in a poor position. She gets unstoppable forced again, and blue team is looking to make a play on this Baron without Nidalee up for 29 seconds. They might be able to get it. Everyone on the red team is in the vicinity, though. So, blue team thinks better of it, tries to get a bit more pressure down, gets some deep wards in. Gonna go ahead and be satisfied with that for the time being. They're pinging out the Baron. They might be going for it. 10 seconds on Nidalee. They've got Tibbers up to help tank with this Baron. They're going to go ahead and go for it. Damage is coming down very fast. Baron already below 7,000 health. And it looks like this is going to be a pretty damn clean Baron for the blue team. I don't think the red team can stop this whatsoever. Vladimir comes in, does as much damage as he possibly can. Aurelia comes in, disrupting it as well. Thresh tries to get in. Baron sitting low. The red comes down. Kalista finishes it off. Tons of damage coming out from either side of the team. The red team starting to drop one by one. Blue team sticking together and showing a great deal of power against their opponents. Ezreal does not die. He uses the heal to get out. Nidalee doing as much damage as she can. The ultimate coming out from Kalista gets the knock up onto that Nidalee, and she is going to die as well. A 4-for-2 trade and the Baron in favor of the blue team. That is a 5k gold swing in favor of them, and things are starting to look a little bit dire for the red team. Kalista's going to go ahead and finish off this bottom tier 2 tower. Got a big wave with her. Got the Baron buff down onto them. She's going to be able to clean up this area very quickly. Looking to go for that Bilgewater into the Blade of the Rune King on top of the Bloodthirster. She's going to be sitting around 35% or so lifesteal, and she's going to be sitting on a very large amount of attack speed, so she's going to be highly mobile with a ton of lifesteal. She's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to lock down and kill. Best bet being probably hitting off that Aurelia stun onto her, but the fact of the matter is she has to reach Kalista in the first place. Ezreal looking to finish off a Blade of the Rune King as well for himself, sitting on that Iceborne Gauntlet and the Muramana. A big engage comes in from the blue team onto this Thresh. He's barely going to live through that last tick of the Ignite. And a big unstoppable force comes down from the Malphite for the disengage, unfortunately. No follow-up whatsoever. Kalista jumps back into this fight. She's going to get down a ton of Ren stacks onto this Vladimir. Vladimir's going to fall, not able to finish off this Malphite. Just barely. The fight in the background going on. Rengar trying to get a couple of cleanup kills. The flash from Kalista comes in, and she's going to get a couple of cleanup kills herself. Saves Annie once more using that Fate's Call, keeping her alive every time Annie is about to die. Kalista throws this ultimates out and just saves her. She is on point with this ultimate. Extremely good play from this Kalista. Thresh lands that hook. Good job, guy. That was a nice hook, but there is nothing to follow up on whatsoever. Blue team falling further and further behind, sitting 7,000 gold in the hole right now, and it just looks pretty damn locked up for the blue team, barring a pretty bad fight. Red team looking for control over this dragon once more. They are 3 dragons ahead. They're trying to get to this late game 5 dragon advantage. The sooner that they can do that, the sooner they have a chance. Annie pops in that Righteous Glory. Never mind, she pops the Talisman of Ascension to get that chase down, gets a little bit of pressure onto Thresh, and the teleport comes in from Malphite. It looks like Blue is ready to contest this dragon. They're like, we've got the advantage. Hooking comes in, a lot of damage coming out on Kalista. She is very low. She tries to get a little bit of life still going down. Vladimir tries to go after her, gets locked up by the stuns. Kalista finally falls. The hook comes out. Katarina's going to die as well. This is looking terrible for the blue team. Double kill for Vladimir. Malphite goes down. Andy is not long for this world. Shutdowns left and right on the side of red team. That seems like that was their plan the whole time. Let blue team build up a lot of kill streaks, and then we get all this shutdown gold right away at a bad fight. That is a 4-for-1 trade. Nidalee falls in the chaos there, but I'm pretty sure that red team's perfectly fine with giving up 1 Nidalee kill for the 4 shutdowns. And a lot of tower pressure down onto this tier 3. Looks like they're going to be able to take it no problem. They're going to back off, pull out the respawn timers coming up for them. For everyone on the blue team. Red team thinks it better of it to just leave after that. Everyone starts their recalls, and items are starting to get picked up. Kalista finishes a Last Whisper. She is now sitting nearly maxed out on items. She can still build that QSS into a Mercurial Scimitar, even replace those boots with something else if she wants to. You know, that QSS isn't the most amazing item here. It doesn't do a whole lot for her. There's not a lot of abilities to cleanse, but I guess it does stop Aurelia from stunning her down and locking her down for 2 seconds. So, at the very least, there's that. Katarina finally finishes up her Zhonya. She is sitting 0, 6, and 7. She is the support master. Never mind, it's Annie. Annie flashes in, gets a beautiful stun on the 2 people. The follow-up comes from her team. What a fast run. That Talisman of Ascension and Righteous Glory combination lets them cover ground so quickly. Tons of Ren stacks coming down onto this Vladimir. Popped for half of his health. Malphite going to just run into the chaos, right into the front. He's big, he's tanky, he doesn't mind being in the front lines. Tier 3 tower goes down in favor of the blue team. Nidalee still down. Vladimir pops his ultimate, tries to get as much damage down as possible. Aurelia gets exploded. Zhonya's comes down for Vladimir. A lot of damage coming on the cat. Zhonya's comes down for her. Vladimir gets slowed down. He's going to get chased down. Kalista is going to fall to the Vladimir just before she's able to pop those Ren stacks and finish him off. Vladimir gets the troll pull down, trying to get as much healing down as possible with his Q. Nidalee comes back in. The spear's going to hit. Is she going to follow up? Yes, she is going to follow up. The flay comes out, but Nidalee gets disintegrated. She wasn't even allowed to live for 2 seconds before she died. Blue team turns it around for a triple kill. What in the world happened? All that damage out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Holy moly. Wow, this Nidalee is made of very, very fragile paper that tears quite easily because she jumped in and didn't exist. She ceased to be very quickly. That was pretty impressive by the blue team to just... I'm at a bit of a loss for words for how fast Nidalee died. I don't even know if her pounce finished. I don't think she hit the ground. She was still mid-air. She was still mid-pounce before she got blown up. Two-shot barrage just going to clear out a few of these creeps. Counter push coming down onto the mid lane, trying to slow down these super minions. Baron coming up in another 5 to 7 seconds, and blue team is on point for this. Rengar gets a recall. He picks up, finishes off the Spirit Visage on top of the Randuins, gets another Giant's Belt. He's going very heavy on the health build right now. So he's going to be a very powerful frontliner for his team, in coupling with the Malphite. Aurelia, in the meantime, gets a counter push going down onto the bottom. Good split push by her. She does have the teleport advantage over the Malphite. She's going to pop her ultimate to clear the wave, though. I don't know if I like that if a fight's about to come up. The ultimate is a very short cooldown for the Aurelia, but that doesn't mean that blue's not going to just rush it. Here comes a fight in the middle lane. Ezreal gets caught out by the unstoppable force, and it looks like the leap from the Rengar is going to be enough to catch on to this Vladimir. Vladimir is not long for this world. He puts down as much damage as he can. It was a valiant effort, but his team leaves him for dead. They know that he's dead, and that's the end of Vladimir's life. 5 members from blue still up. They're able to get the pick off onto the Ezreal and the Vladimir. That's pretty heavily in their advantage now. And it looks like they're motioning over towards this Baron. Annie's sitting in this bush. She is ready to go. She pops the speed boost. She's going to get a lot of damage onto this Nidalee. She is becoming a damage threat herself. And Thresh tries to help out, but that's not going to be enough. This Baron is easily in favor of the blue team. Thresh forfeits his own life trying to save his jungler, trying to keep pressure on the Baron, but Annie by herself is just too much. She's just too strong for her opponents. She is sitting at a 13,000 gold for Annie. She is the second highest gold total on her team, only being beaten out by Kalista. Speaking of whom, dives onto the Ezreal, does too much damage for him to deal, kites back against Aurelia. I mean, playing a melee pick against a Kalista feels horrible, just because of that. Wow! Nidalee gets dropped like a rock pretty damn quickly. Vlad does as much damage as he possibly can, trying to end this Kalista's life, but it's not enough. Her lifesteal is too much. And this is going to be the closeout of this game. Blue team way too far ahead. GG's should be being called right now. And there it comes, the surrender. Red team surrenders at 34 minutes. What an incredibly close game for so long, and then blue team just turned on and said, we've got the better team fight. We've got the better team. We are going to start stomping you now. Well played by them. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope to see you on the next ThorW cast. Bye-bye, everybody.